Welcome to Miss Scarlett. Subscribe and don't miss out on Patreon. Have fun! As the warm, flickering light of a candle enveloped the bedroom, Griffin prepared himself for the evening. Time had passed swiftly, and tonight marked a remarkable milestone in their matrimony. With a careful hand, he straightened his formal attire, striving for perfection as he readied to descend. "You've outdone yourself this time." Victoria's voice traveled through the bathroom door, carrying a subtle, flirtatious tone. "Though remember, don't let that ensemble confine you too rigidly." Griffin, momentarily curious, questioned, "Why do you say that? I was under the impression we're dining at the exquisite Bella Vista?" Emerging from the bathroom, Victoria was a sight to behold. She adorned a sophisticated, form-fitting ebony gown, her auburn locks flowing gracefully to her waist, shimmering in the candle's gleam. "But I have something planned for after." Throughout dinner, Emma seemed distracted, checking her watch and smiling mysteriously whenever Kane asked what was on her mind.
10 years,
Kane said, raising his wine glass.
"To the most beautiful woman I've ever known."
Emma clinked her glass against his. "And to new experiences." Her eyes sparkled with something Kane couldn't quite place. "Are you ready for your anniversary gift?"
"I thought we agreed on no gifts this year."
Kane reached into his pocket.
"Though I may have broken that rule."
He slid a small velvet box across the table. Emma opened it to reveal a diamond pendant that caught the light of the restaurant's chandeliers. "It's beautiful, Kane." She fastened it around her neck. "But my gift can't fit in a box." Back at home, Emma led Kane upstairs, her hand warm in his. "Do you trust me?" she asked, stopping outside their bedroom door. "With my life," Kane replied without hesitation. "Good." She pushed open the door. The bedroom had been transformed. A professional makeup station had been set up near the window, complete with lights and an array of brushes and palettes. Laid out on the bed was a stunning emerald evening gown that shimmered in the lamplight. Beside it sat a pair of silver strappy sandals. Kane stopped in his tracks.
"Emma, what is this?"
Emma squeezed his hand. "For 10 years, I've had this fantasy." Her voice was soft, almost nervous. "I've always thought you would look absolutely beautiful as a woman." Kane's mouth went dry. "You want to dress me up?" "Not just dress you up." Emma stepped closer, her eyes searching his. "A complete transformation. Professional makeup, hair extensions. The works. I want to see you as Camilla."
"Camilla?"
Kane echoed, his heart racing.
"That's the name I always imagined for you."
Emma touched his cheek. "I've been taking professional makeup courses for months preparing for this. The dress is custom-tailored to your measurements." She paused. "It's just for tonight. Just for us. Will you give me this gift?" Kane stared at the emerald gown. He'd never considered himself particularly masculine. At 5'9", with a slim build and delicate features, he'd been called pretty more often than handsome growing up. But this was unexpected. "I don't know the first thing about being a woman," he said weakly. Emma smiled. "That's why I'm here. Please, Kane. It would mean everything to me." The sincerity in her voice made his resistance crumble.
"All right,"
he said finally.
"For our anniversary."
Emma's face lit up. "You won't regret it." She directed him to sit at the makeup station and began by prepping his skin with various creams and primers. Her touch was gentle but confident as she explained each step. "I've always been fascinated by transformation," she said, applying foundation to his face. "The way makeup can reveal someone's hidden beauty." Kane closed his eyes as Emma worked, feeling the soft brush of powder across his cheeks, the gentle tug as she applied false eyelashes. "Your bone structure is amazing," Emma murmured. "Those cheekbones were wasted on a man." As she worked on his eyes, "A smoky eye to bring out the green in your irises," Kane found himself relaxing into the experience. There was something intimate about allowing Emma this close, letting her transform him. "Now for the hair," Emma said, reaching for a box she'd placed on the dresser. She pulled out long auburn hair extensions that matched his natural brown hair color perfectly. "These are human hair, custom-colored to blend with yours." With practiced movements, Emma attached the extensions, blending them seamlessly with Kane's short hair until waves of rich brown hair framed his face and cascaded past his shoulders. "The dress next," Emma said, helping him stand. Kane hesitated. "I don't know if I can do this." Emma placed her hands on his shoulders. "Just try it on. If you hate it, we'll stop." Kane nodded and allowed Emma to help him out of his suit. She handed him silky undergarments, turning away to give him privacy as he changed. The fabric felt foreign against his skin, but not unpleasant. The emerald gown slipped over his head like cool water, settling against his body. Emma had chosen well. The cut disguised his broader shoulders and created the illusion of curves where there were none. "The final touch," Emma said, kneeling to help him step into the silver strappy sandals. They added 3 inches to his height, forcing him to adjust his posture.
"How do you walk in these?"
Kane asked, taking a tentative step. "With practice," Emma laughed. "Small steps, head high. Imagine a string pulling you up from the crown of your head." Kane followed her instructions, surprised at how quickly his body adapted. Emma applied a final touch of deep red lipstick, then stepped back to survey her work. "Look," she whispered, turning him toward the full-length mirror. Kane stared at his reflection, unable to speak. The person looking back at him was unrecognizable, and yet somehow familiar. Long brown hair framed a face that was still his own, but softer, more refined. The emerald gown clung to a silhouette that appeared unmistakably feminine. "Say hello to Camilla," Emma said softly. Kane's voice caught. He cleared his throat and tried again, pitching his voice slightly higher. "I don't know what to say." Emma circled him, adjusting the dress slightly. "You look absolutely stunning. Even more beautiful than I imagined." Kane turned, watching the dress shimmer with the movement. There was something freeing about this transformation, like stepping into another person's life for a night.
"What now?"
he asked. Emma smiled. "Now we celebrate our anniversary. Properly." She gestured to the living room. "I've prepared champagne. Would you care to join me, Camilla?" Walking in the heels was a challenge, but Kane found himself adapting quickly, focusing on the way Emma had instructed him to move. In the living room, soft music played, and candles created a romantic atmosphere. Emma poured 2 glasses of champagne and handed one to Kane. 2 new experiences," she said, echoing her toast from dinner. As they sipped champagne, Emma couldn't stop staring at him. "You're a natural," she said. "The way you hold yourself, the way you move. It's like Camilla was always inside you, waiting to come out." Kane felt a strange mix of embarrassment and pride at her words.
"This is all very new to me."
"Do you like it?" Emma asked, her voice serious. "Being Camilla?" Kane considered the question, surprised to find the answer wasn't a simple no. "It's different, not bad different. Just, I feel like I'm seeing the world from a new perspective." Emma took his hand, careful not to disturb his manicured nails. "Dance with me?" The music changed to something slower, and Emma guided Kane into her arms. For the first time in their relationship, Kane found himself following rather than leading, allowing Emma to direct their movements across the living room floor. "You smell amazing," Emma murmured, leaning close. "I used my favorite perfume on you, jasmine and vanilla." Kane was acutely aware of how differently their bodies fit together now, the heels making him taller, the dress creating space between them, where normally there was none.
"This is what you've been fantasizing about?"
Kane asked. "Me as Camilla?" Emma nodded. "For years. I never had the courage to tell you." She looked up at him. "Are you angry?"
"No,"
Kane said, surprising himself with the truth of it.
"I'm curious about what else you've imagined."
A smile spread across Emma's face.
"I've imagined a lot of things. Tonight is just the beginning."
As the evening progressed, Kane found himself settling into Camilla's skin. Emma taught him how to sit gracefully in the gown, how to hold his champagne glass delicately between two fingers. "The secret," Emma said, demonstrating, "is to make every movement deliberate. Nothing rushed, nothing careless." Kane mimicked her movements, feeling a strange satisfaction when Emma nodded approvingly. "You're a quick study," she said. "Let's test your skills. I'm going to call for delivery, and you're going to answer the door." Kane nearly choked on his champagne. "What? No. Emma, I can't." "You absolutely can." Emma's tone was firm. "The delivery person will be a complete stranger who will never see you again. It's the perfect opportunity to experience what it's really like to be Camilla in the world." The thought sent a shiver of both fear and excitement down Kane's spine. "What if they realize I'm not real?" Emma laughed. "You are real. Camilla is real tonight, and trust me, with my makeup skills and that dress, no one will question it." An hour later, the doorbell rang. Kane's heart pounded as Emma gave him an encouraging nod. He took a deep breath, remembered Emma's instructions about walking, and made his way to the front door. The delivery boy, barely in his 20s, glanced up from his phone. His eyes widened slightly as he took in the vision of Camilla in her emerald gown.
"Evening, ma'am. Delivery for Emma Winters,"
he said, holding out a bag of food.
"Thank you,"
Kane said, keeping his voice soft and measured as Emma had coached him. He reached for the bag, conscious of his manicured nails and the way the dress caught the porch light. The young man's eyes lingered a moment too long.
"Special occasion?"
he asked, gesturing to the gown.
"Anniversary,"
Kane replied, finding confidence in the simplicity of the truth. "Well, congrats. You look amazing," the delivery boy said with genuine appreciation. Kane felt a blush warming his cheeks.
"Thank you,"
After the door closed, Kane leaned against it, heart racing. Emma appeared from the kitchen, a proud smile on her face.
"He called me ma'am,"
Kane said in disbelief.
"Of course he did."
Emma took the food bag. "You're a beautiful woman, Camilla. Why wouldn't he?" They ate on the couch, Kane carefully managing to keep food off the emerald dress. The experience of eating while maintaining his makeup and hair was a challenge he'd never considered before.
"How do women do this every day?"
he asked, dabbing carefully at his lips after each bite. "Practice," Emma said. "And necessity. The world expects different things from women." As the night deepened, Kane found himself less conscious of the dress, the heels, the makeup. The initial strangeness had given way to a comfortable familiarity, as if he'd been Camilla before. "Tell me," Emma said, curling up beside him on the couch. "How does it feel, being Camilla instead of Kane for a night?" Kane considered the question carefully.
"Freeing, in a way I didn't expect, like I've stepped outside myself and can see everything differently."
He looked down at his manicured hands.
"But also vulnerable. The way that delivery boy looked at me. I've never been looked at like that before."
Emma nodded.
"That's the duality of womanhood. Freedom and vulnerability, often in the same moment." "Is that why you wanted this?" Kane asked. "For me to understand what it's like for you?"
Emma trailed her fingers along the silky fabric of the dress.
"Partly, but mostly because I've always seen something in you that I thought would be beautiful when given the chance to shine."
She met his eyes. And I was right. Later, as midnight approached, Emma helped Kane remove the makeup and hair extensions. As each element of Camilla was carefully put away, Kane felt a strange sense of loss. "Keep the nails," Emma said, when Kane reached for the nail polish remover. "They'll chip off naturally in a few days. A little reminder." In bed that night, dressed in his normal sleep clothes, Kane stared at the ceiling.
"Thank you," he said finally, "for trusting me with your fantasy."
Emma propped herself up on one elbow. "Would you do it again?" she asked, her voice tentative.
"Be Camilla for me?"
Kane looked at his manicured nails, remembering the confidence he'd felt answering the door, the freedom of dancing in Emma's arms.
"Yes,"
he said, surprising himself with how easily the answer came. "I would." Emma's smile was radiant. "I was hoping you'd say that." She reached into her nightstand and pulled out an envelope.
"Because I have tickets to the symphony next month, and I bought them for us, for Emma and Camilla."
Kane took the envelope, a mix of trepidation and excitement washing over him.
"You planned this all along?"
"I hoped," Emma corrected. "I didn't know how tonight would go, but I hoped you might discover what I've always seen in you." 3 weeks later, Kane found himself once again sitting at the makeup station as Emma worked her magic. This time, there was less hesitation, more anticipation as Emma's brushes transformed his features. "I'm thinking a slightly different shade of brown for your lips today," Emma said, examining her palette. "Something to complement the blue dress." The blue dress hung on the closet door, a knee-length cocktail dress with a modest neckline and 3/4 sleeves, more appropriate for the symphony than the emerald gown had been. "Are you nervous about going out in public?" Emma asked, as she blended foundation along his jawline.
"A little,"
Kane admitted.
"It's different than answering the door."
"You'll be amazing," Emma assured him. No one who sees Camilla would ever question she belongs exactly where she is. The transformation complete, Cain, now Camilla, stood before the mirror. The brown hair extensions were the same ones from before, now styled in loose waves that framed his face. The blue dress created a simple, elegant silhouette, and the silver heels, lower than before for practicality, completed the look. "Ready?" Emma asked, slipping her arm through Camilla's. The symphony was a blur of new experiences. Walking through the crowded lobby, aware of eyes that lingered not with suspicion, but appreciation. Using the women's restroom, heart pounding until an elderly woman complimented his dress and the moment of fear passed. Accepting a glass of champagne from a waiter who called him Madam without a second glance. "You're glowing," Emma whispered during intermission. "Camilla suits you." And she did. With each moment that passed without discovery, Cain felt Camilla's confidence growing. By the end of the evening, he was moving through the world as if he'd been born to it, the initial awkwardness replaced by a natural grace that drew admiring glances. In the weeks that followed, Camilla made more appearances. A wine tasting at a local vineyard, dinner at a restaurant across town where no one knew them, a weekend getaway to a bed and breakfast where they registered as Emma and Camilla Winters. Each time, the transformation became more refined, more complete. Emma invested in a proper wig, custom-made with human hair in the same rich brown shade as the extensions, styled in a feminine cut that framed Cain's face perfectly. The makeup routine became more efficient, the clothing choices more varied, and with each transformation, the line between Cain and Camilla blurred a little more. "I bought you something," Emma said one evening, 6 months after their anniversary. She handed Cain a small box. Inside was a delicate silver bracelet with a single charm, a C. "It's beautiful," Cain said, turning it in his hands. "I thought Camilla should have something that's just hers," Emma explained. "Something she can wear, even when she's not fully present." Cain slipped the bracelet onto his wrist, feeling the weight of it, the significance. "Thank you." That night, lying in bed, Cain found himself absently touching the bracelet, thinking about Camilla. Not as a character he played, but as a part of himself he was only now discovering. "Emma," he said quietly. What if Camilla wanted to be more permanent?" Emma turned to face him, her expression serious. "What do you mean?" Cain struggled to find the words. "I mean, what if it wasn't just occasional outings? What if it was more?" Emma took his hand, her fingers tracing the silver bracelet. "Are you saying you want to transition? To live as Camilla full-time?" The question hung in the air between them. Cain had been avoiding using that word, even in his thoughts, but hearing Emma say it made something click into place. "I don't know," he said honestly. "I just know that when I'm Camilla, I feel right. In a way, I never understood was missing when I'm Cain." Emma's eyes filled with tears, but she was smiling. "I've always seen her in you," she whispered, "even before I knew what I was seeing." Over the next few months, they explored what this might mean. Cain began seeing a therapist who specialized in gender identity. Emma researched the process of transition, what it would mean legally, medically, socially. They started small. Cain grew his brown hair out, adopting a style that could work for either gender. He began using clear nail polish all the time, then pale colors. His wardrobe gradually shifted to include more androgynous pieces. At home, He became Camilla more often than not. Emma began using feminine pronouns, hesitantly at first, then with growing confidence as she saw how right they felt. "Have you thought about telling your parents?" Emma asked one evening as they prepared dinner together. Kane was dressed in jeans and a simple blouse, his growing hair pulled back in a small ponytail. Kane chopped vegetables with practiced movements, the silver bracelet glinting at his wrist. "I've drafted about a dozen emails. Never sent any of them." Emma squeezed his shoulder. "They love you. That won't change." "But everything else will," Kane said softly. "If I do this, really do this, nothing will ever be the same." "Some things won't change," Emma countered. "I'll still love you. You'll still be you. Just more authentically you." The decision wasn't made in a single moment, but in 1,000 small ones. The first time Kane corrected someone who called him Sir when his hair was pulled back. The day he legally changed his name to Camilla. The afternoon he came home with a prescription for hormone therapy, hands shaking as he set the pills on the counter. "Are you sure?" Emma asked, looking at the prescription. Camilla nodded. "I'm sure." The physical changes came gradually. Subtle shifts in the distribution of fat, softening features, small but developing breasts. The emotional changes were less visible but equally profound. A growing sense of alignment between internal identity and external presentation. At the 1-year mark, Emma planned a special dinner at home. The table was set with their best china, candles providing most of the light. A bottle of expensive champagne chilled in an ice bucket. Camilla entered the dining room in a new dress, dark green, reminiscent of the emerald gown from that first night, but more refined, more suited to her developing style. "You look beautiful," Emma said, rising to greet her wife with a kiss. "So do you," Camilla replied, taking in Emma's red dress. They settled at the table as Emma poured champagne. "To new beginnings," she said, raising her glass. "And to you," Camilla added, "for seeing me before I could see myself." Over dinner, they reminisced about the past year, the challenges and triumphs, the support from friends, most of them anyway, the uncomfortable conversations with family that had ultimately led to acceptance, if not complete understanding. "Do you ever miss being Kane?" Emma asked as they finished dessert. Camilla considered the question. "I miss certain simplicities," she admitted. "The ease of moving through the world without notice, the assumed competence in certain situations." She smiled. "But I don't miss being Kane, because I never really was him. I was always Camilla, just hidden." Later that night, as they prepared for bed, Emma handed Camilla a small gift box. "Happy anniversary," she said. "1 year since you began your journey." Inside was a necklace, a silver pendant in the shape of a butterfly. The symbolism wasn't lost on Camilla, who fastened it around her neck with trembling fingers. "It's perfect," she whispered. Emma touched the pendant where it rested against Camilla's skin. "When I asked you to let me transform you for our 10th anniversary, I never imagined where it would lead, but I'm so glad it did." Camilla took Emma's hand. "That night, you told me it was just the beginning. Did you know, even then?" Emma shook her head. "I didn't know, but I hoped you might discover what I'd always seen in you, this beautiful, authentic person who was waiting for permission to exist." As they climbed into bed, Camilla thought about the journey of the past year, from Kane's tentative steps in silver heels to the woman she was becoming. It hadn't been easy, There had been painful losses along with the gains, but through it all, Emma had been her constant, her anchor.
I love you,
Camilla said, curling into Emma's arms. Thank you for giving me the courage to become myself. Emma kissed her forehead. I didn't give you courage, my love. I just gave you a dress. The courage was always yours. 5 years later, Camilla stood at the podium, looking out at the audience gathered for the launch of her first book. Her long brown hair was styled in elegant waves, and she wore a deep green blouse that complemented her eyes. People often ask me when I knew, she said into the microphone. When I realized who I truly was, the answer isn't simple, because it wasn't one moment, but many. In the front row, Emma watched with proud eyes the diamond pendant Cain had given her all those years ago still glittering at her throat. But if I had to choose one moment, Camilla continued, it would be my 10th wedding anniversary. When my wife gave me a gift I didn't know I needed, the freedom to see myself clearly for the first time. She touched the butterfly pendant she still wore every day. Transformation isn't about becoming someone new. It's about becoming who you've always been, beneath the expectations and assumptions that covered your true self. After the reading, as Camilla signed books and chatted with readers, a young person approached the table nervously.
Your story helped me find my courage,
they said quietly, sliding a book across the table. Thank you for sharing it. Camilla smiled, remembering her own journey. The hardest step is the first one, she said. But you don't have to take it alone. Later that night, as Camilla and Emma walked home hand in hand, they passed the restaurant where they'd celebrated their 10th anniversary, where Emma had first hinted at the gift she had planned. Should we go in? Emma suggested. For old time's sake? Inside, they were seated at a table near the window. Camilla looked around, memories washing over her. The nervousness she'd felt as Cain that night, unaware of how his life was about to change. Do you ever regret it? Camilla asked, suddenly. Marrying Cain only to end up with me instead? Emma reached across the table and took her hand. I never married Cain, she said simply. I married you. You were always in there, waiting. I'm just grateful I got to witness your becoming. Camilla squeezed her hand, the silver bracelet with its single C charm catching the light. From that first night in the emerald dress to this moment, the journey had been more complex and beautiful than either of them could have imagined. To us, Camilla said, raising her wine glass. And to the power of seeing someone as they truly are. Emma clinked her glass against Camilla's. To us, and to the next chapter. Outside the restaurant window, the world continued its busy pace, unaware of the miracle that had unfolded between these two women, one who had seen the truth hiding beneath the surface, and one who had found the courage to emerge into her authentic self. As they walked home under the stars, Camilla thought about that first night, the uncertainty, the fear, the unexpected liberation of becoming Camilla for the first time. How a simple request on an anniversary night had unveiled the person she was always meant to be. Some might call it magic, this transformation from Cain to Camilla. But Camilla knew the real magic wasn't in the makeup or the clothes or even the hormones that had reshaped her body. The real magic was in being seen, truly seen, and loved not despite but because of who she was. And that was the greatest anniversary gift of all. Thanks for watching, my girlies! Be sure to check out Patreon for more!